Hi guys, my name is Megan and today I've got some of my current bookish obsessions for you. Alright, so these are some of the books that I cannot stop thinking about and really haven't stopped thinking about since I've read them. Some of them are more recent, some of them were from last year, and they just will not leave my brain. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, the first one is a more recent read, like I finished it in March, and it will not leave my brain alone, and that is Like Real People Do. This is one of the best hockey romances I've read in a long time. It's so good, it's so sweet, and I don't even know how to describe it because it just grabbed my heart and just will not let go. So this is following Eli, who is a figure skater who is dealing with a traumatic brain injury that has caused epilepsy, and it's also following Alexander Price, who is the youngest captain in the NHL, and they have a kind of not great meet cute, but then they hit it off as friends, like really hardcore friends. Like they start hanging out all the time, and like they both have feelings that develop for each other, but they don't want to mess up their friendship, and then they decide that they want to take the risk of dating, and they are so sweet together. Alex suffers from severe social anxiety, so but he's also seeing a therapist for it. So there's a mental health therapy rep, there's anxiety rep, there's epilepsy representation, and also this book got its start in fandom. This started out as fan fiction for Check Please, and you can see that in the broader strokes of the book. Like you can see where the Check Please melts into a new story, and it's so good. It felt like being home. Next up I have a series that I really haven't shut up talking about since I read the first one, and that is the Necessary Evil series. I would recommend this book series until the end of time. It's so good. This is definitely not for those under 18 because this is a dark romance, and you really should read all of the trigger warnings before diving into this book series because it is very dark. So the Necessary Evil series follows a family of psychopaths. So they've all been adopted by the same person, Thomas Mulvaney, who happens to be running an experiment, but also these are his kids. So he's trying to like nurture them into being like vigilantes rather than like full-blown serial killers, and that happens to like varying degrees of success. Each of them is lovable and adorable and sweet in their own unique ways, but again, all of them are psychopaths, and they're all great stories, but also, like I said, dark romance, so please keep that in mind. There is a lot of murder, a lot of death, and all of the books are just very intense. But I mean, they also have their sweet side, so. Next up, I have Let Your Hearts Be Light. This is one of my favorite holiday romance books from last year. It's so sweet, and it's following two dads, two high schoolers. Baxter, who is a baker and runs a baking business, but his storefront is currently under construction because it had quite a few problems and he couldn't really afford to get it fixed. It's also following Paxton, who is the local handyman in their small town. So both of them are dads to teenagers. The teenagers are kind of conspiring against their parents to get them to hang out, because the kids want to hang out and maybe date. Anyway, so they facilitate that through like a school bonding exercise where they get families together to have a holiday buddy or something like that. It's really sweet because these two are complete opposites. Baxter is such a sunshiny ball of anxiety, and Paxton is a very grumpy, I don't want new friends, I don't want to do things kind of a person. And it's them just kind of warming up and figuring out that, hey, this person isn't everything that they seem, and like it's the sweetest holiday romance I've read yet. And it's one that I just can't stop thinking about because I really want to read the second book, because it's, you know, it's April, but I still want to read a Christmas book. So next up I have The Deep and Dark Blue. This is a more recent read as well. This is following Hawk and Grayson, who have to flee from their home after one of their cousins decides that she doesn't like who's going to be the next head of the family, so she throws a coup and basically kills all the heirs that are in front of her in line for succession. So they have to go to a convent to hide as girls so that nobody really knows that's where they went. And Grayson, while they're there, they can finally admit that they are trans and they were a girl, because I mean, that's the kind of a thing through this whole book is Grayson feeling not at home in his skin and realizing that he was not supposed to be a boy, but she was supposed to be a girl. And like also there's all of this danger around them, but Grayson, who goes by Grace or Gracie at the convent, feels more comfortable as a girl, and she finally finds out that that's who she is. She is there to learn magic and help her family, and Like, the road to acceptance is interesting, but I also really love that when Hawk finally realizes that Gracie is trans and that she is a girl, he says he's sorry for treating her differently and for misgendering her. And it's just a sweet graphic novel about these two finding their place in the world, I guess, and like the joys of being who they're meant to be. And it just will not leave my brain. It's just such a good book. And then the last of my bookish obsessions currently is Summer Sun. This one is still reigning supreme in my brain, even though I read it last summer and it was the best book that I read in 2023. This book will not leave my brain alone. It's just saying reread me all the time. So I might be doing a reread on this one just because this was so dark and creepy gothic, but not quite. It's got these fast cars and dark academia vibes to it, and ghosts and haunts that are literally trying to drag you to hell with them. It's so good, and I would highly recommend you read it because this left me flabbergasted, left me with no words. It's so good. It's that good. Those are my current bookish obsessions. What's a current book that you guys are obsessed with? Let me know down below. If you guys like this video, don't forget the like button. If you haven't already but would like to, go and hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to follow me on social media for more bookish stuff, check out the links down below. Alrighty, bye guys.